We can raise kids without scolding. We can raise kids without punishment. We can raise kids without like shouting, screaming. So this is what made me curious, and yes, it is possible. So why not?
You know, I'm not gonna lie.
Exists.
I wish my mom was listening to this, because every day she screams at me, every day she scolds. I
No,
really wish
even I
she
wish my mom, watches this.
Divya, hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Divya? It is so great to finally speak to you, at least like this. I just want to quickly introduce you to our followers. Guys,
Yeah.
with us today, we have Divya Sujan. She's a parenting coach. She's got over 3,500 followers on Instagram. And I cannot get enough of her buzzing feed. Her cute little daughter makes appearances in her reels, and it's just heart melting. Trust me, it's at least heart melting for me. So really, thank you so much for joining us today in the live. So how are you doing, Divya? How are you? How's your family? How are you doing?
I'm good. Your energy just charged me up. You're so energetic, Ruchira. I like your
Thank
energy.
you.
Same
I want to
here.
start by asking you something that I'm very curious to know. Who exactly is a parenting coach? What do you mean by parenting coach? And do you think there is a necessity in India for more parenting coaches? What exactly do you do?
See, parenting coach is nothing but a person who assists you in the journey of parenting. So it's like many of people like they think that what is the need of parenting coach? We have been raising kids since generation. We know how to deal with them. But then if that is the case, most of us won't regret, I regret for not having a perfect childhood. And that have a lot of impact on how I parent my child. So there are a lot of things that a parent he should be really conscious about while speaking. Every minute thing matters. Even I didn't know about this before getting into this profession, but once I start digging inside and applying things on my daughter and seeing results, that's when I got more and more curiosity to learn more, to explore more, and I am totally like in love with this profession right now.
That is so great to hear. You know, we find very few people who honestly love their professions, and I think that's amazing.
Actually, this is a completely new approach which I came across, which maybe if I tell my parents, they won't approve of. But yes, there are many parents who are willing to, know how they can raise their kids much better in a more happier way.
But yeah, I think that's a very interesting approach as to even the way we've been raised our whole lives, and even a large part of the next generation, they do,
Yeah.
grow up with so much negativity and screaming and everything. So, I'd like to know more about what do you think are more common mistakes like this do you think parents are making that is going to have an impact in a child's life? What do you think are more mistakes that are very common?
Mutual respect. That's the most common mistake that I have observed. If parents respect each other, then obviously the child will respect them, and obviously the parents will respect the child. So the thing is, like one of the reasons I came into this field is that, for example, like the way society treats mothers, or the way society treats the act of raising kids, raising human beings, I was not very much happy with that. So one thing that like the respect that a mother should get, the respect that a woman should get, is not encouraged in our society. Most of the places. So for example, we are in this lockdown, right? So in this lockdown, there are many people who have gone crazy because it is restricted. You can't go anywhere. Your boundary is restricted. So like there are people who went into depression. There are people who had divorce. There are people who committed suicides. So I would like to ask that if there is a person who have all the qualification to do a job, all the qualification to earn, all the qualification to raise her kids independently, all the qualifications that man has, but still she chooses lockdown for her entire life willingly for the sake of her children, for the sake of her family. So don't you think they should get the respect?
Definitely.
So that there are some triggering points in me, that made me to come into this. I can say that India is a dump yard of myths and superstitions. There are so
Definitely.
many. There are so many. So even if there are educated families, they will be happy to follow all these superstitions just because of fear that something will happen. And I don't want my child to suffer, so it's better to follow. This is the kind of mentality. So every time I think of the superstitions and myths in parenting, one thing comes in my mind that, for example, a woman is left inside a deep forest, okay? It is pitch dark, she is not able to see anything, for example. Imagine, okay? But she is able to hear some voices. Okay, so there are many voices that she is able to hear. One is saying that go right, that is the right way, and another is saying that don't go right because there is a deep pit, and you will die eventually. Like one is saying don't go towards left because there is a snake, it may bite you and you will die. And someone is saying that go straight, I am telling you that is the best path. Now that woman, she wants to survive, and she is ready to agree for everything, she is ready to obey every direction that will get her out of the situation, right? So she is like, okay, that way, oh, this way, no, okay, this way, okay. So she is like confused because she wants to survive. Now I would like to ask that if that woman is given a torch in her hand, if she is given a torch in her hand, where she can just switch on the torch and she can look around and she can find the way and direction, will she listen to all these voices? No. Just switch on, see, and go. Because she knows whether there is a snake or not. She knows whether there is a pit or not. There is no fear of stumbling. There is no fear of dying. So now, because you have a torch in your hand, so even if you're while going, there will be many voices that will come to your ears. But will you listen? No, because you know the way. So, I feel that I want to be that torch in the journey of parenthood. Because I have been, when I was a new mom, I have been through so many things, that so many myths and superstitions, that I just wanted to bring awareness. This is one point. This is one strong reason that I came into this, parenting course, to make them aware. Because most of the times people actually don't know, what matters, what doesn't matter. So that is very important. Awareness is very important. And one more thing, that one experience that I came across was when my kid was 20 days old. Okay, she was very small, 20 days old. So my parents, they went out for some work. My mom and dad, they went out. I was with my baby. So I was playing with her, and suddenly her face went red, and she was crying on top of her voice as if there is some sharp pain inside. And I was total full of panic. I was so afraid that I was carrying her and running around the house, screaming for my mom and dad. Where are you? Where are you, Ma, Dad? Where are you? They were not there. And eventually I saw that her breath was reducing. She was unable to breathe. And I was like so afraid, don't know what to do. The only thing I knew was I just went, I breastfeeded her, and then started thumping her back. Again, breastfeeded her, again, started thumping her back. Doing this alternatively, somehow she started breathing again. And for that moment, my, like, even now when I'm telling, I am so hot because that experience is so bad. All the negative things came in my mind that, oh my God, almost kill her. All that sorts of, thoughts came into my mind. It was so horrible. So I froze for some time. When I looked back at my baby, then she was smiling and started playing again. I hugged her tightly and I was crying at the top of my voice because I literally killed her. Like, I felt like I literally killed her. So then that was the turning point. Then I realized, if at all something happens to my baby, I am responsible. And I cannot blame anybody for my stupidity. I should be informed. I cannot rely on other people's knowledge. And as a mother, it is my responsibility to be informed, to be prepared, and to raise my child. So that is the turning point wherein I started digging into all the things related to my baby. I started digging, researching more into, research papers, government issued journals, all these things. But yeah, most of the times, see, new parents or new mom is in a condition in which we cannot convince our elders that this is right, and at the same time we cannot allow them to perform those things on our baby because it is not that good. I won't say bad or worse, but it won't benefit, or sometimes it's not recommended. So how I convinced is that, see, most of the times it was a fight in my house because I won't allow. Once I know that this is not correct, I won't allow. So how I dealt with this is that every time my oldies in the house, they'll say that this has to be this has to be done. This is good. Malish has to be done like this. So and oil inside the ears. All these kinds of things will come up. Like, so I dealing with such things. How I used to deal is that I used to take them to the pediatrician. And that is the safest way. So I used to take them to the pediatrician and I used to discuss them. It's not like a fight or like revenge kind of thing, but yeah, they need to know. So I used to discuss in front of, the doctor. So he used to tell clearly that, see, this is not the way. You cannot do this because if you do, again, you will come back to me. So for your beliefs, the child should not suffer. So please stop it. So this is how I dealt with my challenges during new mom phase.
I think you've depicted, one scene in every single Indian household so well. I can clearly see it on every Indian household going something like this. But really, it's such a moving story of how holding that 20-day-old baby, it really must have been such an experience. So we have a very interesting question from one of our viewers. Afreen is asking, how do you deal with a child who utters a bad word? Or how do you, handle that situation of a child uttering a bad word?
Yeah, so now like my baby is 2.9. So that phase has already started for her. Because like the thing is, they don't know whether it is a good word or they don't know the difference between words. They just are interested in encountering new words. They just want to learn new words. Wherever they find, most of the times we utter some words not knowing that they will repeat and they are observing us. So most of the times what happens, they grasp and they try to speak again and again. So what happens now? First time when they speak some word, for example, pagal, say pagal. She said, pagal mummy, pagal papa, for example, because she doesn't know. Okay. So when she says this, first time if I react like, ha, see what she said, you know what she said, and I'll call him and say, you know what she said. So, you know, the kid is observing that mama enjoying, whenever I'm saying pagal, mama is enjoying. So they'll be happy to use it again and again because they want to see me smiling, they want to see me happy. So the first reaction whenever a child speaks bad words, don't react. Just be as casual as you can. So just be like, just don't react, just ignore. And eventually, speaking once, twice, after that, eventually they'll stop. If at all they are not stopping, if at all, like even after, they react only based on our response, how we react. So, okay, like for example, even after telling them this is a bad word, don't speak, even then they are repeating, for example. So what should we do? We should, like, we can just tell them, like repetition works. We can just tell them that, beta, mama doesn't feel good when you say that. So we need to describe our feelings. If we just, if or bar you say this now, I'll give you a slap. If I say this, how will they understand? They don't know why mama is shouting. They don't know why mama is angry. They don't understand them. So they'll just ignore and again say the word. So just tell them that mama doesn't love this. She doesn't like it. So please don't tell. Huh? Nobody would like it. So let's stop doing this. So it's not like they'll understand or know, but repeating this thing will help.
Yeah. I think I can see that working too, because you know the difference between you screaming at your child and, for the lack of a better word, emotionally blackmailing your child. I think you can clearly see that how, even with my mom, I think the same thing happens. When she screams at me, I'm like, Amma will keep screaming. But when she's like,
Exactly.
okay, I'll go do it myself, or does emotional blackmail, then the effect of it is definitely there, very strong. I can totally see that. So I'm very curious to know, you have a really young child yourself, and even for the people who are watching this who have really younger children, what do you think, at least I know from personal experience that a lot of my memories from school and playing outside and playground are very fresh in my head, and I cherish those memories. So for parents like you and parents watching this, how do you think they can create that kind of school environment or a playground environment for their children, keeping in mind the situation? Like, how do you think they can get their children to break away from gadgets and, really have that sense of playing and having fun?
The only thing is, be a child when with your child. You cannot be a parent and enjoy the moment. You cannot be a parent and be a friend of your child. So there are certain strongholds in our mind which has to be cleared first. That it's okay. If the water is spilled around the house, it's okay. If walls are like, for example, if she's spilling water on the walls, it's okay. So whatever you restrict, if you restrict them to do something, they'll be more attracted to do it. The more you enjoy with them, like for example, that's what I'm saying. If my child is spilling water, I also spill water. I also spill water. Instead of scolding, I also like do this, that, I'll do this, like spilling on each other. And after that, I make sure that I give her a cloth. I also have a cloth and do all the wiping around the house. Simple. The child will be happy to help you to clean it. Really, it's not a cleaning or a job for them. It's more of a fun and activity for them. And especially during this lockdown now, people are going crazy. And we just can't put restrictions every now and then. It really becomes frustrating. Even we are frustrated, yeah. Because for example, since morning to night, I'm tired doing this and that. At the end of the day, my husband comes and says that, "Itna nahi kar paayi, you are at home only, na?" Can't you manage the child? Can't you be with her? Or any comment if we pass now, I will be like, it will go up because the struggle only I know what I went through. And also during this lockdown, everybody is crazy. So just let's understand each other better. It's better to just be compassionate and be empathetic towards each other. That works. We don't have to be judgmental and then irritation. Like even if I'm irritated, I cannot go anywhere leaving these guys at home. The only thing is to bear with each other, to enjoy with each other, to spend time on a realistic boundaries. That okay, see, for example, if I am cleaning the house every day, but today I'm not feeling like doing it. It's okay as long as people are understanding. If people are not understanding, she's not cleaning her house only. If they are this judgmental, it's really difficult to survive here.
True. I think, a lot of our viewers are also agreeing to this. We have Mummy of Thor who is enjoying the session, and we have Honey is Best who is telling us about how, these messages are just so important for all moms watching this. So, really good talk. And I also have another question, like, this is something that I personally go through. I think people my age go through this a lot, where if I have an opinion and my parents have a conflicting opinion, they just do not want to listen, and they just don't want to hear me out, or they don't want to respect my opinions at all. And that kind of makes me get very frustrated too. And even after some time I realized that their mentality and the way they grew up is very different. So with situations like this, especially with even younger kids, how do you deal with this? Of you said how important it is to develop mutual respect, but because they grew up in environments where mutual respect was never present, how do you inculcate that behavior and create that environment?
Send them to me. They need a counseling from me.
Yes.
It's a must because they need my counseling very much. Because in this case, mostly the child is the victim. They go through a lot of emotional pressure, emotional that burden. I know as a child how much of emotional torture it is. But then, like you're asking how a child should deal?
Both. How should a child tackle this issue, and how should a parent tackle this issue? Like, what do you think both parties could do to develop an atmosphere of mutual respect?
See, in both ways, the answer is unconditional love. Okay, unconditional तो बगल में रखो, पहले love हो, उसके बाद हम लोग इसको unconditional में लेके जाएंगे. So first, love can be an answer for everything. If I love my child so much, that is why I can allow her to spill water everywhere. ठीक है? This is a very small example, but still what I'm trying to say is if your mom loves you, ठीक है? If my mom loves me so much that if she has said something and I didn't like, okay, अरे यार क्या mama is telling all these things, so she will make it out from my face. So by the end of the day, she can come to me and say, sort it out. I understand you didn't like it, but these are our family rules. She can make you understand like this. If at all, like a child, from your perspective, your age child, so you can also go to your mama and say, Mama, I understand why you were angry. I understand that this is the reason you were angry. But then this is my point of view. What do you say? See, most of the times this communication is missing. That's why things get built up inside so much that we build a wall. We build a wall from like childhood. We build a wall, brick on brick, and then we become so strangers to each other that we don't want to discuss even simple things. So communication matters a lot. So it's okay if because of their ego, if they are not coming, if they're hesitating to speak to you, but you are matured enough to go and open a conversation to them.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. I think that is something all of us should be doing, especially now. Just take a break from your gadgets, talk to your parents, get to know them better, and develop that communication
You know
bond.
what? Let me tell you. Let me tell you. For example, your like maybe like if it is my mother also, she won't come and say that when we were in teenage now, all these things happened, or like we used to like peep and see boys. Like she won't come and tell all these things. But then that doesn't mean that they haven't they haven't gone through all these things. So like it differs. Like it's okay. They have a boundary that I should not discuss with my kids because it may spoil them or it may encourage them to do something else. Just because I am lenient, maybe they'll take advantage. So all these questions will be in their mind. But what they don't know is if you won't give them the freedom to share, they'll go to something else, like they'll go to somebody else. If you don't share things with them, it doesn't mean they don't know anything. It's the only thing that you want to be the source or the world. And the world is very bad. It may teach anything and everything to the child. But of course, a child has a curiosity to learn. When you are not able to satisfy, the child will go and learn from somewhere else, which may be wrong, which may divert their path to something else which is not desirable.
Yeah.
So I always tell that parents, you be your child's Google. Before the child Googles, before even they get a thought to Google, they should get the thought that I should discuss this with my mom or dad. Only so that is the real success, I think, as parent. If kal ke din, if my girl will come and ask me, Mama, what is sex? Or Mama, what is something? Like, Mama, what is, periods? What is menstrual cup? Whatever. So I will be happy that instead of going and discussing with her friends or Google or anything else, she came to me. And with the best of knowledge, I will help her. I need to satisfy her curiosity. As a parent, this is the biggest responsibility which I missed during my childhood, and I don't want my child to miss it.
Yeah, I think that's really fair and really strong. This is something that, again, we can see in so many households of how it is important that a parent is the source of information and not the world. And I think everybody watching this kind of tries to incorporate that in their lives too. We have another really interesting question from Afreen. Afreen is asking us really good questions, by the way. Thank you, Afreen. So her question is, she has two kids, an older and a younger one. And she says that sometimes when she pampers her younger kid, her older kid feels bad. And this happens in my family too, that when my older sister gets more appreciation, I feel bad, and I always feel like my mom loves her more. So in a situation like this, what do you think a parent should be doing to show that they truly unconditionally love both of them? Or three or four?
Yeah, so I understand. So, for example, Afreen, your 4-year-old child, for example, the 4-year-old child hits a 2-year-old child, okay, and you're really furious. Like you get anger, like you are so furious that you start scolding the older one, and start hugging the younger one, and doing all these things in front of him. So he will feel rejected, na? Even 4-year-old is a kid only. So first thing, like for the sibling rivalry or the siblings are fighting, the first thing they fight is because of the parents' comparison. Okay? First, we need to stop comparing between two children because they are individually their own best self. We cannot compare both of them. Okay? This is the first thing a parent should keep in mind. The second thing is, if at all fights may come. Okay, so if at all they are fighting or something came up, So instead of taking sides, you can just ask your older child कि देखो बेटा, she got hurt and she's really feeling bad, she's crying, so what can we do for her? Does she like a doll, or does she like your ball, or shall we give her a ride on your cycle, or do you think she likes flowers? What can we do? So when you ask, when you you give them, the decisions in their hands, you put decisions in their hands, so then you see the miracle happening. Because once the siblings think about each other, that's when the compassion comes in. So as a parent, you need to instill that compassion and the love for each other, instead of comparing and giving that jealous feels to each other. What did I say? Comparing?
Yeah, don't compare two kids with each other. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So that's what.
That is such a strong message. And Kirti Hair and Makeup says, someone please call my mom and show her this session. Trust me, the first thing I'm going to do after this live is send this to my mom and be like, can you please watch this? Can you please listen to this? So really, thank you so much for such a great session. And yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And another question I have is, this is a time that is very critical and we're losing a lot of people, especially children are also losing parents. And what do you think is something single parents should keep in mind? If there's only a mom or only dad, then what do you think are some tips and tricks that single parents could use in their lives?
Like, see, it is really hard for a single parent to raise a child. It is very hard. I can feel them, because I personally have a lot of compassion for single parents. Because I cannot manage alone, and I expect my husband to do half the stuff, because he is also a parent. So I expect things to go smooth. So obviously, when I think that if at all I am alone, like if at all I am a single, no, not like that, but I just put myself in other shoes to understand the scenario. So it's really difficult, but only thing that patches both, child and the parent, and is engagement, firstly, and the love for each other. As I say, only the love will make them to engage more, because being a single parent, they have to do the job of both mother and father. So it's like a double responsibility. So more the time spent, more the child will be comfortable, more the child will open up, and more things will be easier.
That's amazing. And honestly, it's a little inspiring to hear too, of how much love can heal and how love is such a huge solution for a lot of things. And that's really great to know. And another question that I have is, what do you think are some things that new parents or aspiring parents should know properly? Like even you mentioned about how all your relatives would say do this, do that, malish aisa karo. So what do you think are things or places where new parents should be researching and knowing about?
So as I said, the only savior is knowledge. The more you dig inside, I will say, don't trust anybody. Don't trust. When it is concerning my child, my baby, the most precious thing I created, why should I trust somebody else? So don't trust anybody else except the doctor. Trust your conscience, trust your instincts. On top of that, be so much informed that, like, nobody told me personally that you will have so many postpartum blues, or you will have these many struggles, you will have these many breastfeeding issues, you will feel bad about yourself, you will feel bad about your body, you will feel very low. So nobody told me all these things. I wish I knew all these things earlier. I wish that if somebody would have told me this, I would have prepared myself earlier. I wish if somebody would have told me that after giving, after delivery, you won't get time to research. So when you're pregnant, you should be digging into each and everything concerning the baby, because afterwards you won't get time. So all these things are very important, that being a mother, don't rely on anything except your doctor, except the knowledge that you gain from government issued journals and papers. They are the WHO. So all these trusted papers and journals, go through it. It is for your baby, it is for you. So nothing is going to go waste. So only when you have knowledge, you'll have the power, you'll have the confidence to raise your child. You will know that, you will not be anxious every time you're getting the suggestion. You'll be confident that no, that's a myth. But you don't have to say it, but your heart knows. And that's enough. You don't have to become a Jhansi Lakshmi Bai every time someone is telling you a suggestion. If you know inside the heart, you are strong inside, that's it. Nothing else matters. Because there will be many suggestions coming up, but you gave birth to your child, not them. They didn't give birth to your child. So you are responsible.
Yeah. Even Chikku Nani says, empowering young mothers by sharing your experience. She's absolutely loving the session, and I think we
Thank
all
you
are.
so much.
Yeah, I just have one final question, one last question that I'm really curious to know about is that, moms go through so much mental and physical pain and, so many problems. How do you think, or where do you think moms can go to or look up to kind of help them deal with all these pains and pressures? Because we don't discuss this enough. Honestly, even I didn't know that my mom would have probably gone through so much trouble while giving birth to me. So where do you think, or how do you think moms should kind of try to get their own time or get their mom time, which I think is very important?
It has to be here. Because see, it's true that I need to drain up my entire life for my child, for my family. Everything is fine. But at the same time, I only if I am strong, I can make my family strong. If I am healthy, I can make my family healthy. If I am cheerful, I can make my family cheerful. And only if I dance, I can make my family dance. So that is the thing. Because a mom plays a big role. So I believe that self-care is a must. So for example, if I spend my time, doing my eyebrows or do something, so that is my relief. Nobody can judge me. That is my relief. I feel good. So only if I feel good, I can make my family feel better, na?
Definitely.
So most of the times what happens now, like mothers, they are like, I'm so preoccupied, I'm this, that, I'm so tired. Obviously it will be. But I can tell you with my experience that when I was breastfeeding and I started this journey, it was very hectic for me. It was very hectic for me to take out time, because breastfeeding, in the sense, every 2 hours I have to be available for her. And here I don't have any help. My husband goes off to office. So when should I work? And even at night, I'm not like every new mom's problem. This is, even at night, I'm not having sufficient sleep. So how should I take out the time? So once I started working on myself, once I started doing things which I love, I started loving this, because every time I hear parents saying that, your suggestion helped me. It brought changes in my life. So every time I feel like I am adding value to someone else's life, it gives me immense satisfaction, which I didn't have in my previous job. So I'm happy to leave my job and be here. I'm really happy. And the satisfaction which I'm having now is just it. The only thing which I can tell you is since 2.5 years, I am daily waking up at 4 or 5, 4:30 or 5 every day, and sleeping at maybe it's not fixed sleeping time because being a toddler mom, I cannot fix my sleeping time. Sometimes 10, sometimes 11, sometimes 12. But I am more than happy to wake up and start my work because that's what is keeping me going. You won't believe the strength which I felt within myself. I never knew I had. I never knew I had. Initially, I used to get frustrated with all this, that, housework, this, that. But now I know that I can manage everything. But only thing is I should not stop doing what is making me to, feel motivated, what I am loving to do. So I love this passion. This is passion. If at all it is my interest now, I should have lost it long ago. Maybe 1 month, that's it. But this is not my interest, this is my passion. So passion is something like I could not, I started my YouTube channel 3 years back, like mostly 2.9 years back. So when I started my YouTube channel, that burning desire in me to spread what I learned from motherhood, the burning desire in me didn't let me to sleep. I could not sleep. Even in my sleep, I used to frame, plan things that, okay, if at all I do like this, because everything was new. Nobody was there to encourage me. Everything, editing part, scripting part, recording part, everything is new for me. And I really don't know from where I got the passion, but every time I encounter, mothers with the problems, and I connect to them that, yeah, even I was in that stage. So that passion didn't let me stop. That passion didn't let me sleep. That passion kept me going. And that passion, doing this even for 2 or 3 hours, kept me alive for the entire day. I can dance with my child after this. I can clean my entire house. I can dance with my husband also. I can make a cake for him. I can do everything. So this energy comes from self-care, which is very important. For me, this is self-care. It is my therapy.
Wow, that is a very strong message. Even Unboxing Mommy World has commented on how, it is very challenging and she herself couldn't find any external help. So the fact that you're also creating an environment where moms can reach out for help, parents can reach out for help, I think is extremely powerful. And really, Divya, thank you so much for sharing that message with us today. I had a lot of fun. I think I've always respected my parents, but I think now I've found newfold respect for them too, of how much struggles they go through, and it is not easy being a parent. And our children take it for granted all the time. So I think, really, thank you so much for such an enlightening
So
message.
you can start. You can be the change in your house now.
Maybe, yes, hopefully I get to be the change. I get to, listen to my parents and make them listen to me too, finally. But
Yes.
yeah, also thank you so much, everybody who's been watching, everybody who's
Thank
been
you.
commenting. It really matters. We've been reading your comments. Mommy of Thor has been commenting, and Kirti Hair and Makeup has been commenting. It's really inspiring to see all these women take away from your
Yeah.
message. So any parting words, any final words, Divya, that you'd like to say?
Uh, Final words in the sense, I would just like to say that let your kids experience life. Let them, that you need to allow them. Actually, we need to resist ourselves as parents because it is our problem if we are not able to resist to scold, if we are not able to resist, to shout, to scream, it is our problem. But we need to give them the chance to explore this world for sequential learning. They learn only from sequences. If you don't give them bad experiences, they won't learn. Even we learn from the bad experiences. Good experiences, I think bad experiences are more important than good experiences. So it's very important for us to allow them to explore this world. Just make them, for example, what I feel is unconditional love plus, like, if you don't give them the freedom to explore, it becomes dominating. For example, if my husband loves me unconditionally, but he is restricting me to be inside this house because he's afraid that if I go out, I may stumble, I may fall, like I may get cheated. He doesn't want me to go out. So how would I feel? I would feel dominating. I won't like it. I will feel as if it would be better if you allow me to go and make sure and say that don't worry, you go. I am here to take care. I am there right beside you to hold you right when you fall. I won't let you fall. So this is the very confidence a child needs from parent.
That is so strong, and trust me, the first thing I'm gonna do after this live is send this to my parents because I want them to see this. And that is such a true and strong message that you cannot restrict your child. Your child has to see the world and know and understand. And it's a very strong message. So again, thank you so much, Divya, for taking time off and coming and chatting with us today. Even the viewers are having a great time. So really, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you,
Stay
Ruchira,
tuned
for
an
giving me a chance to share my journey. And I
It's
love this
definitely
session.
us,
Thank
you know.
you.
Yeah. So guys, stay tuned for more episodes from Turning Point Media. We have many more speakers coming, and we really hope you guys have a great time. So really, thank you so much again, Divya. Bye bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.